Hi, Tristan. This is Kristen. Looking over your work, there's lots of great stuff. So I wanted to just kind of go through a few examples and talk about the ones that are good, they don't need any changes, and then give you some hints on some of the questions that maybe need to be revisited. So try to find, as I go through these, just find the page that these examples are on, and then we'll talk about them. So for that first example, A, yes, that's an equilateral and equal angular triangle, so that would be 8. All I would recommend is just make sure to label. That's one thing I try to reinforce with my students as well. Make sure you're labeling those side lengths if side length labels are given. For B, you have a right triangle, so tangent equals opposite over adjacent. That looks good. Tangent equals x over 27. And then just make sure, again, I have my students round, so it was 14, I think 0.996 or 14.97. But if they said round to the nearest whole value, then obviously 15 would be correct with that. And don't forget your label of feet. So then down below at the next one, I'm not quite sure how you got 5 equals 15.19. But what I'm thinking you would want to do on this one, it is a right triangle, but we don't know either of the acute angles. So sine, cosine, and tangent wouldn't be helpful here, but I would think Pythagorean theorem. So if you remember Pythagorean theorem, that's a squared plus b squared equals c squared, where the two sides that form the right angle would be the a and the b, and then the hypotenuse, the side that's directly across from the right angle, is always the c value on the other side. So if we're trying to think of solving for the side length x, I would set this up as 5 squared plus x squared equals 16 squared. See if you can take it from there to solve for x, and that would be that side length. And then don't forget to put whatever your answer is, and then put that double dash for inches after. That would be your label. All right, take a look at that lesson 615 question. So you're given parallel lines and you've got two transversals, the one that goes from D to F and the one that goes from E to G. It says if angle A is 53 and angle G is 125, find the other missing angle. So A, make sure that it almost looks like that's a 55, so just be careful. Make sure that's a 53, that's clear for your teacher. B would be if B and G together they'd form a straight line, so they form a 180 degree angle. For B, you would do the 180 minus 125. And that would get you 55. It's important to get B because we're going to need that for the inside of the triangle. On the other side, kind of the same idea, and it looks like you have that. If you do 180 minus 53, what answer is there? 180 minus 53. That should be 127. So just make sure that those answers are clearly written so that your teacher's like, he totally gets what he's doing, which is great because it looks like you have the right idea on most of these. Then if we think about the kinds of angles that are in between these lines, you've got that one correct. That's also 53. That looks good. Let's see. And then F. So F is 127. Let's see, an E, 128. Or E is 55. Yep, so E is good as well. Sorry, just kind of processing what you're writing here. To get angle C, it wouldn't be 120. Oh, no, it would actually be 125 minus 53. Okay, so those all look good. This whole section looks really great. I'm following what you did. I haven't taught geometry, kiddo, in about 12 years, so it takes a little while for me to kind of remember some of these definitions. I guess so the only thing for this section is to make sure your numbers are written just nice and neat for your teacher to see. All right, let's look at the next example. From what I can tell in this middle section, it looks like you've labeled your answers correctly. So when he says to solve, I don't know if your teacher wants work for those or not, but based on the markings and where the 30 degree angle is and the 60 degree angle, that looks like it's clear to me. So and yes, they are 30, 60, 90 triangles. I think that one is just fine. Taking a look at the converse definitions and if they're true or false, I like the first one. If it rains, then the ground is wet. If it's ground is wet, then it might be raining. That would be a false statement. That's true. But take a look at this next one. If a polygon is a square, then it is a rectangle. That is a true statement. The converse, if a polygon is a rectangle, then it's also a square. That would be false. You can have a rectangle that has opposite sides equal, but not all four sides equal. So that would be a rectangle, but it doesn't have to be a square. So just fix that answer. If a polygon is a rectangle, it has four right angles. That's true. If a polygon has four right angles, then the polygon is a rectangle. That would also be true. All polygons with 90-degree angles are classified as rectangles. If a shape has three angles, it is a triangle. True. If a shape is a triangle, then it has three angles. That's true. Very good. If two lines intersect, then vertical angles are congruent. If vertical angles are congruent, then lines intersect. Also true. So that's good to go. All right. Let's go down to the bottom 6-4. These problems are kind of labeled really interestingly, so that's great. Okay, let's take a look. Angles Z and T, so we have Z and T, alternate interior, very good. The AIAs, kind of fun calling that. What type of angle pair do S and V form? Those are vertical angles, good. Name all the pairs that correspond, so we said X and V. Ooh, X and V will not correspond. So corresponding, oops, sorry about that, let me get the pen here. Corresponding angles are going to be angles that are on the same side of that transversal line. So a pair of corresponding angles would be T and Y. Those would be examples of corresponding. So they're on the same side of that transversal line. So T and Y. Another pair would be V with W. They're on the same side. They kind of match on the same side of the two lines that are cutting through that pair or that transversal. So V and W. All right, so see if you can do the other pair. Or actually the other two pairs, because it says there are four pairs total.